violence. Combat, competition. It's in our blood. It's in our nature to test our skills and seek out victory by any means necessary. You are about to witness a competition like no other. 36 amateur fighters in 3 weight classes will do battle in a grueling league, fighting for points and a chance to be crowned champion. With so many variables, few things are certain. One will rise, many will fall, and no one's getting paid. After 4 arduous battles, these 12 lightweights face one final challenge. Tonight, 4 of them take one giant step closer to championship glory. Competition. It's in our blood. And tonight, that blood will be spilled as these warriors fight to survive among the global MEGAfist 12.
The air is electric here at the Nugent Center. We are so very close to crowning our final champions at the finale at the end of this calendar year. It is December already. The weather may be cold, but the action is hotting up. This is Global MEGAfist 12, Episode 15, the final group stage fight for the lightweights. My name is Derek Osceola. I'm joined, as always, by Lucille Cramblecorn. Lucille, good to have you here again.
It's good to be back, Derek. These lightweights are going to throw down 6 times inside this octagonal-like structure, and it's going to be a great end to the regular season of the inaugural Global MEGAfist 12 tournament setup.
No doubt about that. We currently have 7 fighters currently in position to make the semifinals. 2 are a certainty. 5 fighting for 2 spots. We also have, joining us tonight, he's going to be on a cage side. He's to the side of me at the moment at the desk, Michael Oleander. It's going to be a great night of action.
Thank you, Derek. Very nice to see that Rick from my other job was able to switch shifts with me here tonight so that I could see the Global MEGAfist 12 and report the actions as it gets bloody, stupid, and it's kicky, punchy, submitty kind of action.
No doubt about that. It's going to be a big one. We're going to run through the card in just a moment for you. 6 big fights tonight, the final fights of the group stage for the lightweights. And here is what we are looking at. Of course, the rules. Let's get them out of the way right away. It is amateur mixed martial arts in action right now. Each round, 2.5 minutes long. It's 150 seconds, counting down to 0 on the bottom left corner of your screen for 3 rounds. A 10-point must scoring system is in effect, meaning that the round winner is given 10 points, his opponent 9 or less. No to the groin as always, no hitting the back of the head, and of course no running by the pool. If any of our fights go all 3 rounds for 2.5 minutes each, our judges will score the fight based on aggression, damage, control of the octagonal-like structure, and the best way to get rid of a difficult stain on a carpet that might be blood. Interesting way to determine our winners tonight. We are looking at our main event at this moment. It is going to be a big one. JC Switcher, the department store living mannequin, takes on the Oklahoma Cupid, Charlie Valentine, the matchmaker from the Prairie. This could be, if the right things happen, this could very well be a winner-take-all fight where the winner goes and the loser is out, the winner moving on to the semifinals. A lot of things up in the balance. This is the fight that may make the difference for everyone in Group A.
This is going to be an outstanding fight. You know, Switcher has looked impressive. Valentine, even more so. 3 wins for Valentine. I can't wait to see how everything plays out because our last 2 nights of fights, so much was riding on just about every fight, and a lot of things shook out at the end of each one, and it just gets more and more interesting as the fights go on.
We will, of course, keep you up to date on who is still in the balance, who is still potentially through to the semifinals. Remember, the top 2 fighters on points from each group, Group A and B, will move on to the semifinals. which will take place on December 10th. So again, a really short turnaround for these fighters, but they're amateurs. They don't know any better. Here is something we do know. Another fight from Group A. Miroslav Florislava, the fire safety enthusiast, the man who wears asbestos in the cage, and we're not happy about that. However, we can say that we can't say that he's clinched up first place, but with a win over Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs, our indeterminate military professional, not entirely certain about that. Beyond that, that is going to be one of our fights tonight. Miroslav Florislava has already made his way into the semifinals. We do not know if it's going to be first or second, points or not. He hasn't clinched first place just yet. A win over Gibbs will be a first place spot for Florislava, and he will run the table at 5-0. Gibbs needs to win and win fast. He's on 11 points. He very well, if he wins and he needs Charlie Valentine to not win, that seems to be the situation for Gibbs to make it through. After coming off of a controversial decision win, we were thinking Gibbs wouldn't have a shot, but he's got a second win, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. That decision, I can't enter the brain of the judges who gave it to Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs. I guess they must respect the troops more than I do, and that's something I'll have to work on personally. But Gibbs is a tough competitor. Florislav, as much as we dislike his personal life choices in the fact that, as you mentioned, he does wear asbestos shorts inside this octagonal-like cage structure. He is an outstanding fighter. He has gone 4-0 against some very tough competitors, and you can't take that against him. But I do really wish someone would take those asbestos shorts away from him at some point.
No doubt about that. Well, our other fight in Group A, every fight has some sort of consequences. Our two 0-4 fighters, Eddie Andromeda and Ruben Fondant. It's as simple as this. The winner stays in the Global MEGAfist 12 in 2020. The loser will be relegated and have to qualify back in via the Hyperfist next year. It's not been good for either of these two fighters. They've been outmatched in pretty much every fight they've had. It will be interesting to see who will come out on top.
Absolutely. This is a classic, an O must go kind of scenario, but it's not the O either men wanted this late into the competition, but there is a lot on the line here. I've seen some of these Hyperfist guys, milling around in the back in the parking lots, trying to pick fights with people, just anyone they can find. And there's a lot of hungry fighters out there. So whoever gets relegated is going to have a tough time making it back through that Hyperfist qualifier, should, whoever lose.
No doubt about that. That is how Group A shakes out. Don't worry, we will keep you up to date as results come in, as you see the results, what the situation and who will qualify to the semifinals as that happens. We head over to Group B. One thing we can tell you, the Goblin Rob Lynn, voted Canada's best pickpocket. He is through not only as a semifinalist, he is guaranteed to finish top of Group B. 4-0, 22 points. He has done it in as emphatic a fashion as one can. He's got 4 wins, 2 of them via second round TKO. He's knocked out his last 2 opponents in the first round. He's got Cale Howard, the vegan activist, in his final fight. Howard only fighting for pride at this point. He is out of it mathematically, but I think we get to see Rob Lynn put on a show one more time.
Oh, absolutely. Lynn has looked impressive across the board. I don't think I've seen him in trouble once. I feel like I've said that about I think Glorioso last week, and he didn't do so well, but I don't think this is going to jinx Rob Lynn. Howard is just shown not to be quite on the upper echelon level of these Global MEGAfist lightweights.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Actually, we were saying that about, we've seen so many fighters look unstoppable until that 5th fight. We said it about Jerome Glorioso losing via decision to Power Norman, our host, last week. The week before that, it was Oliver Lehman losing to Dr. Igor Tonic. This is the fight. It's as simple as this in Group B. The winner moves on to the semifinals and joins Rob Lynn. The loser does not. I can't believe we were saying that about Big Guinness Swordhouse, the Renaissance Fair enthusiast, when he had gone such a strong 3-0, only to lose via knockout to Rob Lynn last week. An emphatic knockout. Trevor Sereno has been hanging around getting the important wins when he can. This is a great opportunity for Sereno. It doesn't matter how, the winner moves on to the semifinals. Regardless of anything else, it's as simple as that, and it's our co-main event of the night.
Yeah, this is going to be a great fight. You know, Swordhouse has looked good. He didn't get the finishes as quick as he really absolutely needed to lock down that second place spot. Sereno, he's a scrapper. He's always going to be in a fight. He's always going to bring a tough, dirty, nasty fight out of his opponents. It's going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, actually, I will amend my statement. It is not as simple as winner moves on. Sereno must, in fact, win before the time runs out. He must win, not by decision. A decision will take Big Guinness Swordhouse through no matter what. Sereno must win in the third round or earlier. That is how that works. We have one other potential relegation battle. Vern Wintergreen, winless so far, takes on Zeke Apnea, who got a surprising win last week over Cale Howard. He's on 4 points, but he's still not safe. Vern Wintergreen with an early finish, a first or a finish in any round, will in fact put him through as the tiebreaker goes to a head-to-head matchup. So if he gets a third round win, that's 4 points, and he's got the win over Apnea. But Apnea has shown a little bit of fire lately.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it even more so with Chet Lama in the middleweight division, where going down 0-2 and rattling, just getting that first win and rattling off a couple more to end the season and actually move on to the semifinals. That's not in the cards for Apnea this time out. But if he can get that momentum from that first win last time out and just keep it going, I think he can really snowball into something impressive when the 2020 season rolls around.
No doubt about that. I think it's a good building block to build on. We've got Michael Oleander down at cage side ready. We are going to be starting things off with our first fight of the evening. Comes Cale Howard, a very polarizing individual as far as personality goes. He's looking to at least finish over 500 tonight in the group stage by going 3-2. Here we go. Rob Lynn coming out. This is basically an exhibition for Rob Lynn. He is 4-0. He is guaranteed to go on as the winner from Group B. He will take on the second place fighter from Group A in the semifinals. But he doesn't want to overlook this one. Lucille, do you want to take us through the tale of the tape?
I'd be delighted. Lynn, the slightly taller man, he's got a little bit of a reach. That trivia question, I guess you could call it. It's pretty interesting. You never want to leave your valuables too near Rob Lynn. Howard, of course, bringing out the soapbox, as it were. As always, I definitely think Lynn, as he's proven throughout this competition, he's just going to be a little too much for a guy like Cale Howard to deal with.
Well, here we go. First round of action. Rob Lynn in the Canadian flag, gray trunks. Cale Howard in the white that has been stained to the point of gray. It looks like grass stains and mud, and I don't know what sort of stains he might be. It's probably best not to ask. I think that probably is from some sort of protest, maybe from juicing vegetables a little too hard. Very lanky fighters, both of them. A lot of limbs just flailing about. I saw Cale kind of keeping the distance, but I don't think he's gotten a reach advantage. He's used to maybe having that in other fights.
Yeah, he's I think usually got a bit of a reach advantage, but Lin is an expert at maintaining the proper distance, moving in when he needs to, moving out when he's ready to disengage. And I think that that pickpocketing background is really what's helping him with that scenario, striking.
No doubt about that. He knows to get in, do his business, and get out. That is the art of pickpocketry. And we're about halfway through the first round. Neither fighter really slowing up, throwing a lot of things. No one really connecting just yet.
Yeah, the key for striking is hit and not get hit. You never want to just take one to trade one, as it were. And Lin is doing pretty well at maintaining that mentality as he's gone on in this competition so far.
No doubt about that. Saw a little kind of jump ups, almost like a flying kick there. Just like I don't know what the best way to describe that is. It's a little unorthodox, but I guess for these amateurs who really have had no fighting experience prior to this Global Megafist 12, unorthodox may be more of the norm. I mean, for these fighters, something unorthodox would be an actual proper trained technique, but I can see is that body, the right side of the body of Cale Howard, right where the liver would be, really bruised and reddened. I don't know if that's from a couple of the shots that Lin gave him, or if that's just from, getting in the business of someone who doesn't really want to listen about vegan activism.
I mean, it could just be a vitamin deficiency or some sort of malnutrition that is not being addressed by his dietary choices.
Fair enough. Well, that's the end of round one. We go to the towels at this time, and we head down to the cage side. Michael Oleander, your thoughts? Any sort of information you got for us on that first round?
Yeah, I need to cancel my debit card.
Okay.
It's gone missing.
Oh.
I know it's happened. I'm getting a whole bunch of poutine charges that I'm seeing here in my online banking. I'll fix that. But speaking also with Cale Howard's corner, they did indicate that because of me eating a Slim Jim prior, they called me a murderer, and they said that Cale Howard is going to photo nitrate himself into a win. I'm not really sure what they were talking about. All I know is my funds are dilapidating in my account as we speak. Back to you, Dan.
Interesting to see. I wonder if any of those things are related in any part, but hopefully you can get that under control during the second round. That's very interesting to see. We head back in, and now it's a clinch battle for the first few seconds of the second round. This is very different from what we initially saw in the first round. Bit of a change of strategy from the two fighters.
Yeah, I think Lin is, he might be feeling that he's got a strength advantage over Howard. And typically a pickpocket is not going to be looking to outmuscle his victim. He wants to be quick and speedy, but Howard probably is just completely lacking in that area. So Lin just feels he can dominate Cale Howard with ease, and we're seeing with some of these big, heavy clinch knees.
No doubt about that. It comes in with that left hook. It's kind of like that. I think in boxing they kind of call that the check hook. He just kind of steps in and lulls him into a sense of security, and then throws it just a second later than you expect it. So it's a dangerous strike, especially if you're not ready for it. We usually kind of see that being many knockouts that come from the hook come from that shot. And about halfway through this fight, 75 seconds, a minute 15 left to go in the second round of 3. And they're back to trading, and it's kind of there's the first. I think Lin strikes first, and Cale Howard backs up. He's going for the kill. He goes for that jumping kick. Wants to end with a flourish.
Yeah, very, very good techniques from Lynn. He had Howard hurt. He went to the body, which a lot of guys, even in the pro ranks, tend to forget. They get a little headhunter happy and just look for that big knockout. But good body work sets up a lot of that. You attack the body, and then the head's going to die soon after.
Yeah, I think he saw the exact opposite, though. He saw Cale Howard protecting the head, so he went to what was open. Again, just, seeing that opportunity, no different than when you see something literally hanging out of someone's pocket, easily grabbed. It's kind of one of those sort of things. I think that's what he saw. He just saw the rib cage, he saw the abdomen, and he just went for a big shot. But Howard seems to have recovered all right. He might be used to taking some abuse like that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. He's got decent cardio to recover fairly well from some of this damage.
Stop.
And we do head to a third round, which means if there is a finish, 4 points are on the line. 3, of course, for a decision. We're going to explain the format to you all, especially if you're new to the Global MEGAfist 12, even though we're at the end of the group stage. We will explain it because, again, we'll be back in 2020 with another full season. But we head down to Michael Oleander. Any luck with your debit card? Any further news on the cage side front?
Yes. Hi. I'd like to the second card that you gave me. Are you able to cancel that one too? Because that one's been No, I'm serious. I don't know why these are getting misplaced. No, I did not make a $400 Cash App transfer to BigBrownSugar.com. That was not me. I don't know where I'm getting this. I have to call you back. Sorry.
Well, it seems that Michael Oleander is a bit tied up at the moment. See if we'll have to send one of the interns down to help him out. Maybe kind of make sure he doesn't continue to see if he can cancel all those debit cards that might have been ordered.
You absolutely hate to see it, Derek. It's unfortunate.
Hopefully it can sort itself out as normal. I think we all kind of make sure that we know where our valuables are at all time when Rob Lynn is around. And eating the Slim Jim, well, that had something to do with it. Maybe that's just a little bit of, maybe that's the way that the Howard camp is looking at. But nice knee from Lynn, but he seems to be covering up. Might be a little fatigued. This is the longest that Rob Lynn has been in this cage in any fight so far.
I was thinking that might be the case because I know you had mentioned his last 2 fights ended in, I believe, the first round, you said, and before that he had 2 second round finishes.
TKOs, yeah.
So he's used to finishing fast, and I think we've seen that with some other guys that, if they get too used to finishing early and someone can manage to extend them, they just don't have the cardio to go much past their limit of maybe two rounds. And
I think that's an amateur mistake, no doubt. You never want to expect to finish early. You never want to prepare for that. You always want to. Flying knee attempt from Howard. I don't know who got the better of it. I think Lynn was trying to weather that storm and just land the left hand as he was coming to ground. But we're getting close to the end of this fight. Just about 35 seconds to go. 4 points on the line if it's a finish. 3 for the winner if it goes to a decision. 30 seconds to go. This is impressive from Howard.
Oh, absolutely. We both thought that Lynn was just going to make an example of Howard and just showcase his skills.
Oh, my God!
Oh, he did! Good.
It took a little bit longer, but the lights are out. And if this was a video game, Rob Lynn would be looting the body. A third round knockout for Rob Lynn puts, it was a bit of an ellipses to pause in between, but he eventually got the exclamation point. And he goes into the semifinals undefeated, 5-0, every fight via knockout or TKO. Lucille, he is only the second fighter to go 5-0 across all weight classes here in the Global MEGAfist 12.
I mean, his eye is a little damaged from that fight, but that was impressive. He baited Howard into ducking right into that uppercut, just compounding the force. And Lynn's background as a pickpocket, the knowledge of distance management, you can't say enough about how important that was for his regular season campaign. That was a masterclass from Rob Lynn.
We're excited to see what he can do in the semifinals. We stay in Group B. Vern Wintergreen, Zeke Apnea. It's a relegation battle coming up now. Apnea, he's just been interrupted and pulled out of bed, but I assure you that man has not gotten a good night of sleep on his own accord in quite some time. He lives above a completely different underground fight club, and he's competing in this one. He's coming straight from the gym, Vern Wintergreen. He spends a lot of time in the gym, lifting weights, chatting it up in the locker room, not wearing pants. This is a new thing for him, wearing pants actually. But we're gonna see how he can do it. He has not gotten a win yet. We go to the tail of the tape for this fight.
Wintergreen is just at such a disadvantage with that height and reach, and it's shown in his winless record so far. Apnea, despite being about average in terms of the size of the other lightweights, his sleep deprivation has taken a toll on his cardio and his reaction time. But we'll see which disadvantage is stronger, reach or amount of sleep, a fighter gets, and how both play out.
We really don't talk about the fatigue factor right when the first round begins. But here we are talking about fatigue for Zeke Apnea. He gives up that takedown almost immediately, and Vern Wintergreen is going to work. But Apnea really tosses and turns and gets the top position. Again, I think age may come into the factor here for Wintergreen. He is on the older side of this field. That may mean his reach isn't as limber, and his his height, he's a bit more hunched over. Again, that is the wear and tear of age.
Yeah, I imagine his hips aren't as flexible and fluid, and he is passing guard fairly well, but he has such a trouble maintaining it. He can't apply the correct pressure that he needs to stay on top. And Apnea is just easily slicing through Wintergreen here.
That he is, and there is, we're seeing, Apnea able to just kind of maul through, and we're halfway through the first round, and Apnea, they're both standing again. This will be interesting. We've seen Apnea's only win, the third round win, over Cale Howard just last week, or last episode, 3 weeks ago. It took almost the entirety of the fight, and he took a lot of damage. But so has Wintergreen throughout this whole competition. So we're seeing, this is the fifth fight these fighters have had to compete in basically the last 6 months. It is not a typical schedule, but these are not typical fighters. These are untrained amateurs, and we love every bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching these people grow, or sometimes not grow, in their fighting skills and technique is interesting, and that provides for a lot of unexpected violence as people just kind of see what works and are learning on the job. Though, of course, as amateurs, I guess it's learning on the unpaid internship.
That does seem like it's more fitting in that sense, and no doubt we've seen the mount for Apnea right as we go to the end of the first round. Wintergreen was maybe spasming or just wanted Apnea off of him. I think he was looking for a chance to go to sleep. We head down to cage side and Michael Oleander for more information on this first round.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Derek. I believe what we just saw there was, in fact, Zeke Apnea falling asleep, albeit for a brief period of time. That's the only sleep he's got today. As for Vern Wintergreen, I was asking about his dietary routine, and he says he uses a lot of the omega-3 and the Kenny omega-5 and a lot of the fish oil. In fact, he does something called what's called the Moby Dick routine, where he takes a large halibut, fits it over his head, and then eats it inside out raw. It's how he's staying limber even in his old age. Back to you.
That's very impressive. Technique I'm not used to hearing about, but again, I don't know the history of various workout tactics, and I wonder if that has anything to do with all the fish oils I've heard about, that used to be useful. But we are going into round 2, and again, Wintergreen coming out with the same veracity that he had with the start of this fight. That might be the key to winning this one.
Yeah, absolutely. The pure alphaness you get out of eating a raw fish, especially if it's somewhat still alive, is definitely going to help, especially an older gentleman like Vern Wintergreen. He's got a lot to make up in terms of height and reach and skills, and something like that can definitely help out.
That is true. We are getting even closer, and Wintergreen strikes first, lands a big left hook.
Big power shots, but both men looked a little tired from that exchange, even though only one man took damage.
Yeah, I think Wintergreen is starting to feel his years. Oh, and Apnea returns fire.
Uppercut.
Hits the body, the head, drops Wintergreen. This could be the end. And it is.
Wow.
What a finish. Coming from behind, Zeke Apnea cut across the bridge of the nose. That's potentially a broken nose.
That is a rough look on Apnea's face. He won't be getting much sleep with all the pain he's going to be in from the stitches and all the treatment to repair that busted up face.
Yeah, I don't want to use the term medically induced without having to mean it, but that might be the best way for him to get a little shut-eye at this point. That's going to be a long and hard healing process for Apnea. That's the before picture right now on the graphic. That is the after photo. The bleeding is stopped for the moment and cleaned up, but it's over for Apnea. He will be back in 2020, but Vern Wintergreen, unfortunately, will be in fact relegated and replaced by one of the Hyperfist qualifiers. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Coming up next, it's another relegation battle. Eddie Andromeda and Ruben Fondant. Someone's O must go. But on the other side of things, that's coming up in just a moment. Right now, we understand there may be some new faces, new friends to the chat, to watching things out, to checking things out here at Global MEGAfist 12. If you are new to Global MEGAfist 12, here is a quick explanation to how things are going and why we're talking about points and all of that and how this tournament works, so that when you join us in 2020, you're fresh and well educated. Here we go.
The Global MEGAfist 12 is a grueling competition like nothing ever seen before in mixed martial arts. First, the 12 fighters are drawn at random into 2 groups of 6 fighters each. Each fighter will face off against the other 5 in their group. A win is worth 3 points, while a draw is worth 1. In addition, bonus points are awarded for how fast a fight is won. Winning in the 3rd round is worth 4 total points, a 2nd round win is worth 5, and finishing a fight in the 1st round gets you 6 points in all. After all 5 rounds of competition, the 2 fighters who finish in last place are relegated from Global MEGAfist 12 and must earn their way back in next season. They will be replaced by 2 fighters from the Hyperfist qualifying tournament. The 2 5th-place fighters will be matched up against 2 more fighters from the Hyperfist qualifiers, with the winners earning their spot in next season's Global MEGAfist 12. The top 2 fighters from each group advance to the semifinals, where the first-place fighter from each group will take on the second-place fighter from the other. The winners of these fights will do battle for the championship. It all comes down to one thing: win, and win fast, and the title of Global MEGAfist 12 champion awaits.
He may be the ace of cakes. As that is, we have some wrong footage there. That's Vern Wintergreen, clips from earlier. Apologize for that mistake in the. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you get the wrong video footage cut up, and that's what happens. But Ruben Fondant, the ace of cakes. See if we have correct footage this time. There he is, Eddie Andromeda coming out to fight Ruben Fondant, not Vern Wintergreen, as the video may have led you to believe. Ruben Fondant, of course, the ace of cakes, not exactly the ace of the cage. And there is Eddie Andromeda, always putting on a show. Always making it a good time despite being 0-4. We have the saddened baker, who is the cake sculptor, a dessert artist who has to watch as his beautiful cakes are destroyed and cut into and not appreciated by children at parties everywhere. Taking on the lead singer of the hit Queen cover band, Eddie Andromeda.
Ready?
It's gonna be an interesting one.
Ready?
I know I'm ready for this one. Someone's gonna get their first win, we presume.
Yeah, we really hope this fight has a winner. Otherwise, it'll be kind of I guess kind of confusing as to who gets relegated and who doesn't.
Well, there are further tiebreakers if it goes to a. I was actually asking this sort of question of the powers that be here at Global MEGAfist 12. Should there be a draw, both fighters would be at 1 point, and the tiebreak goes to. Basically, there's an algorithm, some sort of mathematical determine how quickly you win your fights versus how long it takes to lose your fights. Kind of like a fight time differential. So I guess it would be those who lasted the longest in the cage. So in the event of a draw, I'm kind of just like looking through my statistics here. Looks like that might actually go to, I'm kind of just seeing how this all shakes out. I think, just kind of eyeballing the numbers, I think Eddie Andromeda would have the tie break if it were to go to that. But of course, we have yet to see a tie here in Global MEGAfist 12. I think we could very likely see something. They're kind of swinging like they don't want to go for a tie.
Yeah, it's interesting when two guys who have never won fight and they're both trying real hard to win, but they really don't know what to do.
Dropping first. That's the striking first, and Fondant smells blood and goes for it.
Another drop. Andromeda is in trouble. Oh, he is out cold.
Yeah, he drops him, and that is the end of it. And Eddie Andromeda, well, sadly for Eddie Andromeda, he was an exciting fighter. He was a little undersized for the division. We don't know what the future might hold for him here in the Hyper Fist qualifiers, but we did see, well, as I couldn't put it better than the person I heard screaming from the crowd behind me, that was some pound cake by Ruben Fondant. He scored the TKO, Andromeda not defending himself, and that was it. That is how that is going to play out. Ruben Fondant will live to fight another day. We will see him in the 2020 Global MEGAfist 12. For Eddie Andromeda, it is back to the races. And he'll have to qualify his way in.
Yeah, not to upset Ruben too much, but that was the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think if he heard that, he wouldn't be too happy about a cookie crumbling. Well, I guess it's going to be time for our handkerchiefs in just a moment. Miroslav Florislava is guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. However, he has the chance to ruin a party by eliminating Val Gibbs. Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs, you know, he is very thankful this holiday weekend. He is thankful for all the troops he has served with, and he said he is thankful for himself for serving this country and many others. He shows up wearing asbestos. He's adorned in flames. Miroslav Florislava, not really endearing himself to us at cage side. He is literally wearing asbestos. You can see it's chipping off. And I don't know about you, Lucille. I don't want mesothelioma.
I'm in the same boat, Derek. I don't care what kind of financial compensation I could be owed from it. I just don't want it at all.
No doubt about that. I'm going to ask you something about that. Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs, again, an honorable veteran, a patriot, a defender of this great nation. When asked what time it was, he said 024-9-12. I'm not that familiar with military time. That doesn't sound like military time to me.
I mean, that could be some sort of black ops code that they have to use. So if anyone intercepts their radio transmissions or their chatter, they aren't found out. I honestly don't know with Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs, as he hits a big slam on Florislava.
And so many flecks of asbestos just came off of those shorts. I don't even know how you get yourself asbestos shorts made, but here we are with Miroslav Florislava. Aside from the questionable choice of fighting gear, he has been impressive. He's got 4 wins out of his 4 fights. If he gets a win tonight, he will be one of 3 fighters in all of Global MEGAfist 12 who have gone 5-0, along with Rob Lynn and, of course, Fritz Milgram in the heavyweight division. Minute in, he's already going for a submission to Kimura. Doesn't think he has it that well, but he is not giving up on that submission on Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs. Florislava, actually, he has yet to get a submission victory. He was going for that. He's got 2 TKOs, 1 knockout, and a decision win over JC Switzer back on episode 6. So he has gone the distance before, as we know, has Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs.
Yeah, it could be that he was simply trying to, during that Kimura attempt, he sort of angled Gibbs's head to the side, and that could just be a tactic to get Gibbs's face closer to the asbestos shorts, in the hopes that a prolonged fight will compromise Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs's cardiovascular capabilities.
No doubt about that. I would have to, again, you got to use all your resources that you have. And for Miroslav Florislava, that means using live, open, and crumbling asbestos. Which, again, can't believe we are allowing that. But hey, one in Missouri, do what the lack of an athletic commission will let you do. I suppose. We are getting close to the end of our first round. 5 seconds to go. And Florislava takes the mount position, but just as time runs out. End of round 1. That looked pretty comprehensive to Florislava. Let's go down to Michael Oleander and see what he thought.
Swim that arm over. Swim that arm over. Good. He's tired. His legs are tired from trying to push the tape.
On the ground, you can catch him all day long in that triangle armbar. You can catch him all day long,
Well said. Well said, Michael. Well said indeed. Can someone get him a handkerchief or something? Like, that is horribly dangerous, especially for our cage side reporter.
Okay, fighters.
That's just not professional. It's not what we're doing. I know it's amateur mixed martial arts, but that is not professional in any sort of way.
Yeah, I mean, even for Missouri, that's grossly negligent, and he sounds to be having a rough time. He's got the debit card issue. I know he was unavailable for the past couple of shows. I'm not gonna talk about his business on the air.
No, but we all know, again, thoughts and prayers feels like what we need to say at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to Michael and all the people affected by, I'll just say, the incidents, and leave it at that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Back to the fight. We're going into 40 seconds into round 2 of this potential 3-round fight. Again, Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs currently sitting at 11 points. He needs a finish. He needs a win. He's currently sitting in 3rd place, tied with JC Switcher. Of course, with that tiebreaker, should it come down to that, which dubious as it may be, could come into play. But he still needs a win. He lands a big uppercut. That might be the first time we've seen Florislava take damage like that. He pushed up against the cage, but he spun out and was able to recover. Now they're trading.
Yeah, I question Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs backing away after he got Florislava hurt. It might be that Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs is operating perhaps under an outdated rules of engagement policy. He wasn't maybe sure if he could continue to attack if someone was that badly hurt. But that might cost him if things continue on as they have for Florislava throughout this bracket season so far.
No doubt about that, and we're seeing, there we go. It's Gibbs again with the takedown. I'd say he might be even winning this round. We might have it tied up if we go to a 3rd round. This might be all tied up on the scorecard. This is potentially hanging in the balance. Yet again, Florislava counters it again, but Gibbs seems to just be finding. He's got an answer for everything Florislava has done so far, and time is of the essence. Florislava is through to the semifinals. Gibbs needs a win, and he needs it in an emphatic fashion. He needs to finish the fight, because even if he's tied with Charlie Valentine, he does not have the tiebreaker. That's the end of round 2. He needs to at least have a shot by getting a finish in the 3rd round. Let's see if Michael Oleander is doing any better than he was after the 1st round.
Thank you, Derek. I got some Ventolin for ringside from a fan who was is either that or a meth pipe, and I told him which one was better at the two. Thank God I'm feeling better. Some interesting stuff I got from Rio Sergeant Val Gibbs' medical staff. It's actually their medical staff is covered by the VA, and the fact that he cannot be administered any type of health recovery or anything. In fact, it has to be approved by the VA, so you actually have to drive 5 hours to the next VA clinic, then get approved at the VA clinic, in which they give him apparently a Band-Aid that does not have any adhesive on it, and then drive the next 5 hours to the next medical facility to get that approved. Back to you.
That is something. I don't even know. None of that none of that feels accurate, real, or. You know what? That's probably fine. It's probably fine. I'm not gonna judge.
I mean, the bureaucracy of all healthcare is a bit of a nightmare. It's just a mess. I mean, I don't know if it's a Missouri VA rule. I know we had to struggle with the Missouri. You can't exactly call it an athletic commission. It's just a group of people who are kind of renting us the building. Floris Lava looking for a guillotine, but I don't know if you recall this, Derek, but when we were first trying to lock down the Nudity Center, we were asked what round we wanted the alligators put into the octagonal-like cage structure during these fights, and we had to mention multiple times that no, alligators would not be involved in these fights. It was a bit of a hassle, if you recall.
Well, I think the history does speak for itself. I understand why it exists, but I mean, come on, that hasn't been an issue here in this state for at least 6 or 7 years. We are heading down to the final minute, and Gibbs I thought he was about to tap, but he just gets out of that guillotine, leaves an arm open. Here's a Kimura attempt. Florislav has been going for submission pretty much the entire round.
I think he's desperate. I think getting rocked at the end of the second has really alerted him to the fact that, Gibbs is very tough, and he got the back to cracks out the truth. Such disrespect.
Very disrespectful, not just to our lungs, but to the troops, Miroslav Florislava. I mean, we talk about the toughness and the never say die, never give up attitude of Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs. I guess we didn't see that on display there, as he did in fact give up. I don't want to call into question any sort of his valor in this case, but I guess he knew when he was beaten, and he was certainly beaten that time, having to tap out. Just under a minute left in the fight. And Miroslav Florislava has clinched first seed has clinched top of the group, which means he will face the winner of Sereno and Swordhouse, or whoever emerges from that fight next. Meanwhile, we go to our other fight later. That is what is happening right now. That is how we. Okay, good. Oh God, they have in fact cleared the cage. Florislava is away from the cage. His team is gone. We can breathe again as it starts to dissipate in the air. Coming up next is a big fight, so we're going to just go ahead and recap right now. Here is what we know. Miroslav Florislava and the Goblin Rob Lynn have won their groups respectively. They will take on the second place fighter from the opposite group. For Florislava, that means whichever of these two fighters will emerge. Trevor Sereno, 4 points behind Beginnis Swordhouse. He needs to win the fight and finish it. He needs to finish the fight against Swordhouse. He cannot take a decision that will not do enough. That will only be 3 points. He needs 4 or more to knock out Beginnis Swordhouse, and he'd be knocking out a deadly competitor if he were to do that.
Oh, absolutely, Derek. Swordhouse has been a tough customer. He's only got that one loss, which I believe was his last fight.
Rob Lynn, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lynn, of course, just has looked unstoppable. Swordhouse is very powerful. Sereno is crafty. It's tough though in a situation where you know there's a specific outcome you need in terms of finishing at a certain time and trying to get it. It can really push things to a bad spot where you're in your head too much.
No doubt about that. Well, we have our next show. We were about to show you our next show. We had it with our graphics currently in as they stand. Of course, you know, it's a couple fights still to figure things out. But we can tell you that on December 10th is our next show, where we will see the semifinals from all 3 weight classes. We will see Fritz Milgram taking on Oliver Lehman, and Dr. Igor Tonic taking on Lonnie Fescue in the heavyweights. The middleweights, we will see the Tumor of Justice taking on Chet Lama, and President Jerome Glorioso taking on Dale Branston. And we know that the lightweights will see Miroslav Florislava and Rob Lynn taking on various opponents from each other's group. We'll know for sure who they are as we get to our final 2 fights. But right now, as we saw before, it's Swordhouse and Sereno. Only one will move on. Let's find out who.
Oh, whoops. Okay. That's it.
He shows up in a tunic and chainmail, but nonetheless, McGinnis Swordhouse has shown that hand-to-hand combat is not just something you're trained in from the Renaissance Fair. It is something that can translate into modern-day combat, and he has got to get a win tonight. Opponent, Trevor Sereno, the high school guidance counselor with a bit of a mysterious past. I can't imagine what the MS on his neck stands for, or the various sort of hand signals he throws up, or the fact that he's wearing the color blue and seems to love doing that. I'm sure it's all just a part of his character that allows him to get in touch with the kids. As we go to the tail of the tape, the height and reach advantage goes to Sereno. Swordhouse is stocky, but he is short, but he packs a lot of power.
Oh, absolutely. He is one of the few guys in any of these weight classes that a height disadvantage has not been disastrous for his record so far.
It has not been. It's been an impressive tournament for Swordhouse. I can't believe it's almost surprising that it's surprising to me that he is even at a point where he could potentially not advance. But we're seeing Trevor Sereno handed an opportunity. He's just got to get a finish and lots of points in this fight. Again, a 3rd round finish gets you 4. That is all that it will take for Sereno. Of course, a 2nd round finish, 5 points. A 1st round finish, 6 points. We saw that earlier in the Fondant versus Andromeda match. Swordhouse just needs to hold serve and make sure he gets a win, ends up on top. But Trevor Sereno, I understand it said when he asked what time it is, he said it's time to strap up, and I was confused by that question. Someone says that's usually something that someone says when they're packing a weapon, like holding a gun. And I don't understand why that would matter. I think Sereno, again, has proven skilled in hand-to-hand combat, especially here in the cage.
Well, I thought it meant to to get the strap in terms of a title belt in the sense that he wants to move on to the semifinals and potentially win this whole Global MEGAfist tournament. Big shots from Sereno. He is looking to finish early.
Well, again, that's exactly what he's looking to do. I think at this point, he knows he needs a finish, so he's trying. Time is his enemy in the same sense that McGinnis Swordhouse is. He is fighting the clock. Swordhouse will be happy to slow this one down and try to last all 3 rounds, but also look for the win when he can. He doesn't want to do anything too rash.
Absolutely, you can't overextend yourself and get caught. You gotta have aggression, but tempered with a little bit of patience. You can't just go all out and gas yourself out trying to get a finish that just isn't presenting itself.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think Sereno is the one who has to make that concession and try to do that rather than Swordhouse. But again, we've seen fighters coming into these last fights knowing what they need to do and not taking advantage of it. We saw it with Paranorman, our host, last week. He needed as we get to the end of the first round, he needed to finish the fight, and he was unable to do it in the time he needed. So Sereno may have been watching that and picked up some things, and he's cut open Swordhouse. Let's head down to Michael Oleander for more on this fight.
Thanks, Derek. Well, speaking with Trevor's quarterman, asking about the quote he had stated, the time to strap up, he did indicate that he is in reference to a seatbelt, and that he is also does a driver's ed from time to time as a part-time when the other driver's ed teacher is currently battling alcoholism. As for McGinnis Swordhouse, as one of the factors in the judge's decision tonight is how difficult it is to remove the difficulty of removing a stain on a carpet. Swordhouse's camp indicated the best option would just be to cut out the carpet itself. Back to you.
Interesting strategy. Of course, didn't know about the driving instructor aspect of Trevor Sereno. I'm sure we can always go by the school district and see him drive by, but nonetheless, he's looking pretty good. He's got Swordhouse on the back foot. Looks a little tired. Not seeing really. This is very interesting to see. Lucille, what's your take here on this early second round situation?
Well, Sereno started the first round with a lot of high energy techniques, the spinning back elbow, a flying knee. He's toned that down a bit. He's looking for simpler combinations. Find the openings that Swordhouse is presenting. As Swordhouse is looking to play it safe, and
he aims a couple big shots, but Swordhouse usually shows he's able to take a lot of punishment. The only exception to that is his fight with Rob Lynn, but we see what Rob Lynn can do. But Swordhouse is weathering this storm. He's already got maybe some vision problems in that left eye. It was cut and swollen shut in the first round.
Yeah, that cut is going to be a big problem for Swordhouse. He won't. Luckily, I guess it's not on Sereno's power hand or power leg side. It's his front foot. It's his jabbing arm. That's going to be the issue for Swordhouse to see coming. But it's still going to present a lot of problems as this fight goes on.
It's proven him a real issue so far. I think this has been Sereno's fight. He just needs the finish, and I mean, at the rate he's going, big knee from Swordhouse, and that is how you can change the momentum of a fight.
Absolutely, that was a big knee and a follow-up punch, but Sereno is looking to reverse things, and he is. Oh, I thought he had mount, but Swordhouse, at the perfect moment, reversed it. What an incredible move. Swordhouse is using his weight, his chainmail shorts, everything to just put a lot of weight on Sereno and tire him out as this second round ticks down.
Yeah, that is an underrated sort of thing we haven't really talked about, is the fact that McGinnis Swordhouse does fight in chainmail shorts, and that adds a little bit of heft That just makes it so much tougher when he is
Running
on top
backwards,
and
so
raining
you're gonna have
down
to keep
punishment.
jabbing in.
He's been
You're
mostly
gonna have to throw your
a stand-up
right,
fighter, but
short,
that is an
and then
underrated
keep
aspect
working,
of his
letting him
game.
go a little bit.
As we are heading to the
Can't wait
third
for him
round,
to-
one round left for Sereno to get a finish. Michael Oleander back at cage side. Any more information on this one?
Yes, thank you very much, Derek. Now they did. Napoleon was once quoted saying, "An army marches on its stomach," and certainly Beginner's Swordhouse prepared for this fight very well by having his usual pre-match meal, which was an entire bucket of goat cheese cooked over top of a hot plate. Not an actual hot plate you would plug in, but rather a plate from the dishwasher that just had finished drying, and they tried to chop and mince the goat cheese, and he was able to digest it. That is until about a few hours from now.
I don't want you
Thank you very
looking
much.
at him. I
Back
want
to you.
An entire bucket of goat cheese. I imagine you could fit about, what? That's about
Ready?
11,
Ready?
12, 13 pounds of goat cheese that can
Let's
fit into a bucket. That's,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot of goat
don't know
cheese.
this. I don't know if it's a standard bucket size. I don't even know if there is a standard bucket size, but yeah, you can definitely get I assume, a lot of goat cheese in a bucket, especially if you really pack it in there.
Yeah, now I'm no nutritionist, but I don't know if there's any sort of health benefits of eating mass quantities of goat cheese, but certainly hasn't helped Swordhouse at this point. Oh, the
Oh my God!
Oh, he's down again!
Oh,
Fights in a row!
Oh my God, the ref was very bad in putting that one to an end.
What a fight, and that will do it. That will knock Swordhouse out of the semifinals, replaced by the man who KOs him with that rear hook, Trevor Sereno. And we wondered why Swordhouse may have looked sluggish. We may have had our answer, but he is not looking sluggish. He is looking unconscious. Just going for an uppercut he has knocked fighters out with before. It was just a beautiful counter hook. And Sereno, I want to talk about an underrated wild card sort of dark horse candidate. Trevor Sereno is going to be a tough opponent. Trevor Sereno versus Miroslav Florislav. We'll talk about that in a few. But I would not count out Trevor Sereno. Well, folks, it has come down to this. Charlie Valentine versus JC Switcher. The winner goes on. The loser goes home. Here it is now. Valentine, the Oklahoma Cupid, a matchmaker of one type, at the mercy of a matchmaker here in the Global MEGAfist 12. Sitting at 3-1, he's one win away from the semifinals. Stamina is never a problem for JC Switcher. He went to a decision on 2 different occasions, yet to get a win by a decision. However, he has in fact knocked out 2 opponents as well. Switcher has a chance with a win to move on to the semifinals. Got the height and the reach advantage. He definitely has the stamina, being able to stand still as a living mannequin for hours at a time. He takes on Charlie Valentine, who has been tricky, who knows how to strike, and has gotten, I believe, 2 wins by submission and 1 via knockout.
this should be a very good fight. Both guys are fairly evenly matched in terms of, height and reach. Valentine has found victory a little more often than Switcher, but this is going to be a good fight, and they are going after it early.
They sure are. It has been, big knee, but blocked by Valentine. Valentine usually the one who wants to take it to the ground. You gotta wonder if JC Switcher, who has lost both of his 2 losses have been by decision. Big knockdown, and he goes for it. Is Switcher gonna want to get the finish by any means necessary? Because his 2 fights that have gone to a decision were both losses to Miroslav Florislava, and of course that controversial one to Rear Sergeant Val Gibbs. He would not even be in this position where he needs this if that decision went a different way. Although I guess would have put him at 14 points, and that would have also made this just as much of a winner-take-all fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every fighter is looking to avoid the judges' scorecards because, gotta be honest, whether it's Missouri, whether it's North Korea, whether it's the Panama Canal, most MMA judges are pretty dumb when it comes to judging who actually won a fight. It's sad to say.
Fair enough with that.
Oh, nice quick takedown from Valentine.
Yeah, he is just so dangerous about that. So very dangerous.
But he's got to be careful not to just duck his head down and rush from too far out, because Switcher is going to see it coming, and he's going to time something big if Valentine doesn't hide his shots any better than what he's doing.
It's been an interesting night so far. I can't imagine. Oh, that was a head kick. Just basically grazed the shock of orange hair on Charlie Valentine, but they are not backing down. They are going toe-to-toe, just landing big punches. One of these might be the one that just unlocks the key and puts the winner into the semifinals. We're at the end of round 1. This has been an action-packed first round. Michael Oleander at cage side. A lot of damage done. Your thoughts on the first round?
Thank you very much, Derek. A lot of strategy going, as we saw there with Charlie Valentine taking a lot of those strikes to the face. And I was asking his quarter people if that was part of the strategy, and they said, that's love. I was a little bit perplexed by that. While also quickly speaking with JC Switcher's cornermen as well, they did indicate that the shirt he was previously wearing was involved in last year's Black Friday problem, in which the exploding tag caused a giant ink swell to occur on his jacket, and that way he was not able to wear that here for this time around. Back to you.
It's very unfortunate. I guess also it's also important to get the latest seasons, end of season pieces on, so of course they can be pushed for a quick sale. Notice the tags are still on his fight shorts. Again, it's always working, always on, always pushing product, and he's trying to push a victory for himself into the semifinals. A win will do it. The winning fighter, and Lucille, I hate to burst the bubble of either of these fighters. A win gives them a fight with Rob Lynn.
That's not a great prospect. I imagine though that if anyone's gonna really want to fight Lynn, it might be Switcher, because I think I read that Lynn did do a little bit of shoplifting in his younger days before he moved on to full-time pickpocketing. Oh, but big ground and pound from Valentine. Thought he almost might have the fight in the bag there.
Wow, that is certainly something. But Valentine taking mount. This is where he likes to do his business, looking for a submission.
Looks like he might have punched himself out a little bit. He's taking a lot of rest on top.
I saw Switcher was attempting to kind of roll over and give up his back, but Valentine opted to just kind of block that and keep him in this spot. And He's got mount again. This is, you don't usually see them standing up a fight when someone's in mount like this position, but there is not a lot of action. And I gotta wonder if there's gonna be something. He's gonna try to posture up, but Switcher is defending that really well. Arm triangle just so quickly like that. This could be the end of Switcher.
It looks like it's getting tighter. If Valentine
really cranking on it, yeah.
Can posture. Oh, he needed to get a little more distance actually to cut a sharper angle into Switcher's, the arm going into the carotid artery. He just needed incidentally enough more distance, and he didn't need to be as close to secure that submission victory.
45 seconds.
No doubt about that. It looks like he almost kind of gave it up more so than didn't. He must have realized he didn't have it and kind of gave up. And he's just working very hard this round. And well, Switcher gets out of that predicament with just seconds to go. Not enough time to really do any damage, but he is gonna live to fight another round. We head to the third and final round with this fight very easily in the balance.
Hey, 5 minutes of hell.
Now we head down to Michael Oleander at cage side with more information on this fight.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Derek. From what I saw here, and speaking again with the corners, as you saw Charlie kind of flopping or cuddling on top of JC Switcher, and I asked him if that was part of the game plan. They said, that's love. As for JC Switcher, he did get into a confrontation on Black Friday, this past Friday, when someone took the tags off and then argued with him to say if the tag was off, was the merchandise free? He then clocked him, alerting local authorities. Thankfully, no charges pressed, and he was able to make it to our fight tonight. Back to you.
Interesting. So that sounds like a little bit of a warm-up for JC Switcher. Still not understanding the strategy of Charlie Valentine. I think consider me just as confused as you are, Michael and Lucille. Any sort of thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I can't speak to love. It's but letting someone punch you in the face and just laying on top on an advantageous position. It's certainly not fighting. It may be love, but it's not fighting.
Interesting there.
Big head kick.
It's basically all or nothing. It's like a last 2-minute sprint for these two fighters. This is very, very close. And we are seeing what happens when everything is on the line. A spot in the semifinals, the final of the 4 spots, the last spot in December 10th semifinal show. And they are just landing big ones. Yeah, who do you feel like? This is going so fast. Who's got the... I was just going to say, who has the advantage? But Switcher with a head kick out of nowhere.
Valentine is looking rough, but he's recovering well. Switcher, I think, won the first round. Valentine took the second. I feel this is the round that's going to decide everything. Big takedown.
What a counter. Yeah, Switcher, I think, used Valentine's own momentum. He sidestepped a trip, and there it is. He's got him up against the cage. He's taken the back. Valentine is on the defensive. This could be the momentum shift in this fight.
Absolutely.
Again, that's smart by Switcher. I think you got to leave it and gets taken down. He was so smart to let him back up to take this to a standing position, but Valentine makes his way back into his world on the ground.
Yeah, he's got to do something. He can't just sit out for the remaining 35 seconds without landing some ground and pound or looking for his submission. He's got to do something to win these judges over.
Well, this has got to be something. He seems to see fatigue is wearing in, is setting in. 17 seconds to go. And we are seeing what could be a very close decision. I don't know who it would go to. We all, both Lucille and I, are presuming that it's going to come down to this round. And Go throws up his triangle right at the end. Not enough time. 10 seconds earlier, might have had a chance at it. We go to a decision, and you can see the look on the face of JC Switcher. terrified knowing what happened the last time it went to a decision. The certainty in both fighters is at an incredible low. Michael Oleander, any final thoughts on this fight before we get the judge's decision?
Yes, indeed. Derek, speaking again to both quarters, I asked them what they were going to do regarding the best method to clean up the carpet. Charlie Valentine's quarter stating, that's love. As for JC Switcher, they indicated that they were going to let the night shift do it.
That's
Back to
fair,
you.
and I'm not sure which one would work better, or if that even comes into play. Do we have a winner? We do have a winner in. Here it is. It is going to be JC Switcher gets his decision victory. His first win via decision. I mean, it was so close, Lucille, but that feels like the right call.
Absolutely. I think he did just a little bit more damage overall. Valentine's second round, he was on top for a while, but he just didn't let his hands go. He didn't really look for a lot of submissions. He had the arm triangle, but the head kick Switcher landed in the third that almost finished the fight was, I think, what really put him over the edge.
No doubt about that. Well, there are our results for tonight. A decision win for JC Switcher. A submission victory for Miroslav Florislava. Those are your semifinalists coming out of Group A. Ruben Fondant will continue his career in the Global Megafist 12 by sending Eddie Andromeda down out of the group stage and into the Hyperfist for qualifying. That is how the lightweight standings in Group A will shape up. Florislava, well and far away, 5-0. Switcher gets it on a tiebreaker, that head-to-head tiebreaker over Valentine. He will move on. Gibbs in fourth, Fondant in fifth, and Eddie Andromeda is relegated. We head over to Group B. Trevor Serena with the surprising knockout in the third round did exactly what he had to do to get through to the next stage. Zeke Apnea holds on to his spot in the Global Megafist, and Rob Lynn puts on a clinic once more in a war with Cale Howard. How the standings look, Rob Lynn, first place in the group. We knew that coming into tonight. He is joined by Trevor Sereno. Look at that again, another head-to-head tiebreaker determined tonight. In this case, Sereno besting Swordhouse. Apnea in fourth, Howard in fifth, and Vern Wintergreen is in fact relegated. Well, Lucille, this means one thing. We know our semifinals. It is Miroslav Florislava versus Trevor Sereno. What a unpredictable, potentially unpredictable fight this could be. Sereno has turned it on in the last two fights, but yet Florislava has just been unstoppable so far.
He's looked very unstoppable. He did get rocked tonight, and Sereno is the kind of guy that if he hurts you, he's going to jump on you, and he's going to try and tear your head off, looking for that finish. So Florislava, he's going to have to play it, I don't want to say safe, because he just doesn't necessarily fight conservatively, but he's got to be careful. He can't really leave too many openings, otherwise Sereno's going to find somewhere to put him away, and that's going to be a great fight in the semifinals.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and of course, look at that, Rob Lynn versus JC Switcher. Let's make no mistake, he went to a decision tonight. JC Switcher is a dangerous opponent, but Rob Lynn, it just feels like he's in a class of his own. Could we see the upset?
I mean, there's anything that can happen in MMA, but Lynn has looked so good. I don't think he's looked in trouble in any of his 5 fights. I'd have to really pour over the tape, but nothing is really coming to my mind of him looking in any kind of actual trouble. But Switcher, you can't count him out. I mean, he was kind of the underdog in this fight tonight, and he did enough to pull off the win. And as we said, the points in the semifinals don't matter. A win no matter what, and you move on. And if Switcher can get a decision, then that's all it's going to take. Lynn, he's finished so many people, he's looked so good, but all it takes is one well-placed shot with these small 4-ounce gloves, or a naked shin or a naked knee bone, and the whole tournament's over for you. The whole season has been a waste.
That is very true. It is really, at this point, win or go home for these fighters. As there it is, there are your semifinal fights. December 10th, do not miss it. It will be right here, December 10th, Tuesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The semifinals of all 3 weight classes, as we saw, Florislava versus Sereno, Rob Lynn versus JC Switcher. In the middleweight division, the Tumor of Justice takes on Chet Lama in what should be a submission clinic. President Jerome Glorioso and Dale Branson will do battle. They are 2 very high stamina, able to take a lot of punishment fighters. In the heavyweight division, Lonnie Fescue and Dr. Igor Tonic will do battle, and 2 of the hardest hitting fighters in all of Global MEGAfist 12 in a semifinal. Fritz Milgram versus Oliver Lehman. It's going to be a huge set of fights. I can't wait for this one.
This is going to be an amazing night of fights. We're finally going to see the lightweights, middleweights, and heavyweights all on one night. I cannot wait for December 10th. It is going to be tremendous. I hope everyone can join us. I'm just counting down the days. I'm marking my calendar, and God, it's going to be a fun night.
It certainly is. We hope you join us on December 10th, Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Thank you, as always, to Lucille Cramblethorne and to Michael Oleander. That has been it for here at Global MEGAfist 12. We hope you enjoy it, whether it's your first time joining us or if you've been here for every single episode. We encourage you to check out all the episodes on YouTube. Of course, you can get all caught up. This very episode will be up by tomorrow morning as well. Again, my name is Derek Osceola. Thank you as well to Lucille Cramblethorne, Michael Oleander for joining us. To all of you, thank you for joining us here as well. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you continue to support Global MEGAfist 12 here on IRM. And of course, all the links are around and below. We'll see you next time. And of course, thanks to Most Glorious and Honorable Mr. Naga. May he live for 10,000 years. And he is the one who has brought to us the Global MEGAfist 12. Until December 10th, we'll see you then.